Need a little luxury in your life? That's why I recently treated myself to a staycation at the Inn at 500 Capital. Whether you're looking for a romantic getaway, a special celebration, or just a break from routine, you're going to love their Four Diamond Boutique experience with gorgeous rooms, penthouses, and suites right in the heart of downtown Boise. You'll be greeted with a complimentary drink on arrival, have access to free shuttle service, and even your pet is welcome. And here's an insider tip: book more than one night and save with their weekend escape rate. Book your stay now at inat500.com. Today on CityCast Boise. Midwinter calls for serious comfort food, so we're sharing the best spots to beat cabin fever fatigue, from well-loved classics to hidden gems you'll wish you discovered sooner. Whether you're craving a variety of flavors, a quick pick-me-up, or a cozy meal with friends, we've got you covered. Plus, we're debating whether pho is the king of comfort food. It's Tuesday, February 18th. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. Our Hey Boise newsletter editor, Blake Hunter, joins me today with affordable restaurant suggestions to beat the cabin fever while we really settle into this midwinter. So, Blake, what's been your go-to comfort food lately?
My go-to comfort food has been the same for like 4 years, honestly, and I've mentioned it a few different times on the podcast, but I just recently went and had it with a friend, and it was the first time that I'd been able to like sit them down and enjoy it. And they were just as blown away as I was. So I felt very vindicated. So that's going to be my first swing, is the chana masala at Mount Everest Momo Cafe. This dish, I'm not kidding, is one of the best things that I've eaten in the valley. And I think everything at Mount Everest Momo Cafe is delicious. This is truly like, it's just swan song. Like I love it so much.
Do you find that your winter comfort food progresses as winter goes along, or do you really just have like this, like the minute the temperature starts dropping, this is your comfort food, it's what you're getting, it's solid through, April or May, whenever we start getting warm, or do you find that it kind of changes?
I need variety so much, and especially through the winter. There's just not a lot getting us through, or at least that's how I feel. I'm just not much of a winter person. And so my food has to change every single winter, like as the winter progresses. And that's a lot of what I'm bringing to the table today is just variety, and specifically like diversity in cuisine, and just leaning more and more away from like European or American style foods. Of course, there's going to be some of that in there. And of course, like there's blended cuisines. All of it is to some extent, but that's where I'm going, is just trying new stuff to me, at least. Of course, it's not new to a lot of other people. But yeah, mine has to get just a little bit more variety as the winter goes, to kind of get me to like the farmer's market, like fresh produce time of year.
And so are there any other specific Boise restaurants that you rely on when you're craving, you mentioned, a warm meal, a hearty meal, just something to get you through?
Okay, the one dish that tends to get me through all winter long that is consistent is pho. And so I have 3 different pho restaurants that I like to kind of keep on rotation to keep it interesting. So there's Pho Real, which is by the Boise Co-op. And it just has such good vibes in there. Like the pho's amazing, but it's just a very small, like intimate space, and I think that that's really, really nice this time of year. But also, it feels green. Like it's not just pure warm lighting, like pub vibes. Like it still feels fresh in there, as well as the food still seems really fresh through the winter.
I love to get takeout there because they give you so many extra toppings. So You're getting lots of the greens, lots of the toppings. So it does, like you said, it feels fresh, which is something that you don't always get this time of year.
No, totally. It can be really hard to get, but it's always delicious. And then, of course, there's Pho Nouveau downtown right on 8th and Idaho. That is my takeout go-to, just because it's like walkable for me. And then Filet, I think, is maybe a little bit more of an underrated. It's a little bit less like takeout-y. It's like it can be a pretty nice vibe to sit down in out on Broadway. But yeah, I think that pho really carries me through the winter. I really am grateful for pho.
Oh, I love pho.
Yeah?
That's one of my winter go-tos is I'm a soup girly.
It's also cheap, and you can usually get 2 servings out of it.
Oh, you can get so many
Yeah.
servings out of it. And they will just send you that's one of the things, it's so cost effective for a family because we will get like these huge tubs of it and you get 2 or 3 servings. Everybody's had plenty of dinner. Some people can take it for lunch the next day. Like it's one of the go-tos that my entire family likes. So
Totally.
it's the one meal where I know everybody's going to be happy. Especially this time, everybody's getting sick. Everybody, there's so much crud going around. It is, I think, I know everyone's like, have chicken noodle soup. Pho is like it. Pho is the better chicken noodle soup. That is what is healing and hearty and amazing.
Yeah, honestly, I love both like chicken noodle soup vibes and pho so much, so independently. But I hear what you're saying in that, like, if you are sick, there's kind of nothing better than pho. Like it's just delicious. So
yeah, and I don't know, there's the little bit of spice to it. I mean, you can adjust the spice level, but something about that, it's clearing your sinuses.
Mm-hmm.
It's delicious.
It's
I don't
fresh.
know.
Yeah,
Pho really it just hits this time of year,
carrying us on its back through the winter. Yeah.
Truly,
Yeah.
it is doing all the heavy lifting in Boise this winter.
It's true.
Okay, Blake, I'm really curious. Let's say someone is out running errands around town, just around the area, and they're getting cold. They need, a quick comforting bite to warm them up. Where should people go?
Yeah, I think the quick comforting bite kind of on the go, one of my favorites and has been for a couple of years. I think this place is pretty well known and like beloved, but is Tango's Empanadas up on Vista. Is just so delicious. It's like they're small, like handheld pies. So like you can get a couple if you want and just take them to go. But they're just so good. Like they're so hearty and they're so warm and also like pretty filling. I mean, they're definitely a little bit more of like a snack. So like if you want a full meal, I would say get like 3 or 4 depending. But I think that they're just quick and you can just kind of pop in, grab a couple while you're running errands. I think that's one of my favorites for sure. Have you had Tangos?
Oh, yes.
Okay, cool.
I was going to say,
Cool.
I love the variety of
Yes.
empanadas because sometimes, kind of like you, sometimes I just really need variety. And so I want a couple different flavors for lunch. I want a couple different, and so I think empanada is the perfect way. Like you get a little pocket pastry that tastes like this, and then the next one can be totally different. And it's just perfect, warm. I love it. Just so good. Such a great recommendation.
What sort of promises have you made to yourself this year? Maybe get in better shape or eat healthier, save more money, travel somewhere new. What about discovering a new culture by learning a new language? With Babbel, you can do that in just a few weeks. I'm CityCast CEO David Plotz, and I'm having such a good time learning Spanish on Babbel this year. I'm taking a trip to Mexico City in the spring, and Babbel is giving me the Spanish foundation that's going to make my trip so much better. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons, handcrafted by more than 200 language experts, get you to begin speaking your new language in 3 weeks, or at whatever pace you choose. And because conversing is the key to really understanding each other in a new language, Babbel is designed using practical, real-world conversations. And one way they do that is with their own podcasts. I'm a podcast listener. I'm guessing since you're listening to this podcast, you are too. And I have been getting ready for my Mexico City trip by listening to Babbel's conversational podcasts. There's a short conversation you listen to, then an instructor talks you through what happened, and then you listen again, and then you catch everything when you listen that second time. There's also a great read-along transcript, too, which I love. The one I did today was with Maria and Carmela trying to make dinner plans, but Carmela is so busy. She's way too busy with work and yoga, but finally they agreed on brunch on Saturday. Studies from Yale, Michigan State, and other universities continue to prove that Babbel works. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. So let's get more of you talking in a new language. Babbel is gifting CityCast listeners 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why Milo's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards Milo's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join Milo's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Blake, we've lightly touched on takeout spots people should go to, but do you recommend any other spots that people should pick up takeout during this midwinter time that would feel indulgent and cozy, but you can be at home in your sweats and your PJs?
Yeah, I think that we've done a pretty good job covering takeout this winter, I feel like. One that I want to mention that I don't know if we have, which isn't always my go-to, but I think it is comforting for a lot of people, is like a soup and sandwich kind of combo. So, and for that, I like Lemon Tree. You can kind of mix and match however you want to go with like a soup and sandwich. But I think that that's also, that's just a really nice one. It's definitely more like lunch style, but I think that it's still very comforting and can be quite rich. Like it's indulgent still. So yeah, I would say Lemon Tree.
Is that a good spot you think people could go and also eat there? You know, we were talking about takeout, but a good, still cozy vibe, still going to warm up if you were, out and about downtown?
Yeah, I think it has more out and about feel to it. If you sit down, like it still feels like you're like stopping in really quickly while you're on an errand, before kind of continuing your errands. But yeah, I think that you still can sit down there.
Okay, so where's your best recommendation for a place to get a delicious meal without busting your budget?
Yeah, this is an oldie but a goodie, a classic. We've talked about them so many times on the podcast, but I'm going to go with Bar Guernica for this one. It has that Basque pub feel to it. Like it's perfect for wintertime. I've had so many times like in the winter when I'm just like sitting in there and like it's raining or something, and it just feels like you're in Europe. So again, talking about like the variety, it kind of feels like you're getting more out of it than you might be putting into it, especially cost wise. Like it's really quite cheap. Anything you get there is going to be delicious. You have to get the croquetas, but anything on top of that, you're going to love it. Also, I just shout out to the Bar Guernica folks. I know that they listen to the podcast. And one time in December, or maybe it was November, I was having a rough go of it, and I went in with a friend, and they played all of Brat for us in Bar Guernica while we were eating. And that was like genuinely like a turning point. Like it really helps me. So shout out to those folks.
So Blake, let's be really real. In 2025, is there anywhere that someone can get a really solid, hearty meal for, I don't know, let's say $15 or less?
I mean, as anyone kind of knows, not really. I think that consistently, it's really, really difficult to get in and get out of somewhere without spending $15. I think that even like quick takeout lunches, like even at like the warehouse, I swear they're charging like $15 for a hot dog. Like that, I think that those days are kind of gone for me and for most people. And I still have a really hard time wrapping my head around that. But that's kind of my sense. And that's kind of how I've like gotten over the hump about like feeling bad about eating food, like eating out at restaurants and stuff, is just accepting like it's going to be $15 to $20 kind of at the cheapest. And you just got to budget that in and decide if that's a priority for you or not. And I would love if people could suggest places where I'm not eating that, where that is the case. I don't know. What do you think? Like, do you have a sense for that?
It doesn't feel like there are spots, even for lunch, that you can just get, I'm in, I'm out. Yeah, it was like $9.99. No big deal. No, it really does feel like if you're going out to eat, and, this is kind of how I've had to look at it, is I am having to be intentional in that, okay, I'm going out. What do I really want? Because there's nothing cheap. There's nothing where I'm like, that's, it's fine. It's $10. $10 is $10. And so it does feel like I'm either going out less, or it's a very intentional going out where I'm like, this is what I want. This is exactly what I want, because I'm willing to spend money for that. Do you think that has affected restaurant culture in this area? Or do you think people are just like, well, this is just how it is. I'm going to keep eating out the same way I used to?
Yeah, I mean, I think anecdotally it certainly has affected. I think it's also just that like $15 is the new $10. That's just, things have just changed so much. And, that it just kind of is what it is right now. I think that there are a lot of ways around it. I think that honestly, maybe I'm not giving these places enough credit, and it's honestly not even these places' faults. It's so many other things going on.
Oh, yeah.
But like you can get $15. Like I think with tip, maybe with a drink, there are a number of places that we've already mentioned that you can get in and out for $15. You're just not getting $10 anymore. You know what I mean? Like there is kind of a big difference in there for me mentally, but it's just about accepting that. I think that the other way around this though is to get a few more people together and share a bunch of stuff, like share a bunch of apps. That is so much fun, and it's a really fun way to be intentional. I think that passing around plates of food around a table and everybody kind of taking what they want, like family style, I think is exactly how we should be eating during the winter. And that can also bring your costs down. So, I think that there's still a few ways to do it.
Okay, so bouncing off of that, where's a top pick for you if you're going to go out with a group or get some dinner with some friends this winter and you're like, hey, this will be cost effective and we can have something delicious?
Yeah, I think that one of my favorites for this is going to be Bombay Grill in Oahe. Actually, our audio producer Evelyn and I, we just recently went there and for their lunch buffet. Great lunch buffet. Like it's so good. It's about $20 after tip, and but I think it's also just a great place for dinner if you want to bring a bunch of people, kind of gather around. It's perfect for that. I think a lot of Indian restaurants do that really well, where it's like easier to share the entrees than maybe in some other cuisines. So yeah, I would go with Bombay. I mean, tried and true, classic. Just being in the Idaho, you have that historic feel to it, and also the restaurant itself has been there for a long time. So it's very cozy, I would say. And yeah, they've got amazing food.
Do you have any recommendations for an affordable but cozy date spot?
Yeah, I think for this one, and this isn't the most affordable, but again, if you get maybe my strategy here is get like one big entree and then like two apps to split between two people. I think that that's like a solid like date meal. I'm going to go with Nam on this one. Nam Thai and Burmese. This is some of the best Thai food that I've had. Our old guest host Nick Kwa introduced me at least to this place, and I love Nam. I think they're delicious. Have you been?
I haven't been to Nam.
Okay,
No, I
go.
know you've recommended it. It's on my list. It's on my list to try out. So
yeah,
maybe in the next couple weeks when it's feeling real dreary.
Yeah, and it's such a cozy vibe. Like it's such a fun vibe in there. I think I recommended them for takeout actually, so I'm repeat offending here. But it's also a great. It's again a small space, which I think is nice for a date in the winter. And the staff is just amazing. Yeah, love it.
What's a spot you like to go to? I mean, I think we're far enough out from the beginning of the year. We're heading into, the deep winter here. What's a great spot you like to go to get like a sweet treat or a dessert, maybe something warm and cozy for a little pick-me-up?
This one is a little bit tough because it's not going to be later in the day just because they usually sell out. But new kids on the block, Cafe Sorrento, up on, let's see, Overland, I believe, across from the Fred Meyer. This place is so delicious. I went on their opening day, stood outside in the cold for like 45 minutes, and it was honestly worth it. This is like mostly a cannoli restaurant, but they do a bunch of other Italian pastries. This practice has been in the family for a few generations, and you can tell. Like, just go follow their Instagram. That's all I'm going to say. Their stuff looks so delicious, and it tastes even better. This is my new favorite sweet treat place.
Wow, that is okay. You're a baker, so that is
this is
the
next level
highest
stuff,
praise.
you guys. Yeah, no, they're the real deal.
Okay, if Blake the baker is willing to wait in the cold 45 minutes, run. I'm running.
Yeah.
That's top of my list now.
And they do focaccia sandwiches too, so also a great lunch.
So, do you think Boise has a pretty solid winter food scene, or is there something you'd like to see more of, or maybe something you think is just really overdone?
I think that we have a pretty solid winter food scene. I think that what people can fall into is kind of habits, and I think not finding the variety, not seeking out the variety. And so I think that one element is overdone. much love to these places. I've eaten at all of them and probably will continue to do so. But I do feel like our market is a little bit oversaturated just from like a foodie perspective with kind of half committal Italian American restaurants. And I don't know, y'all are just doing the same thing and I'm tired of it. And, you know, we keep coming back to you. And I think that that's fine. Like make your buck. But it's just not super compelling to me. And I think that especially in the winter time is when I really personally start to feel that of just like, I wish that some of these places that are in great downtown locations would just swing a little bit bigger. Another one that I want, which is we just need more patios in general, even in summertime in Boise, but I want more winter patios, which I know can be, you know, I know it's costly to like heat them and whatnot, but I think that like I love going to Red Feather and Bitter Creek's patios. You know, they're covered, but it still feels a little bit outside. And there just aren't a lot of good heated patios. So I think that that's one that I would say. But I think honestly, overall, if you're willing to kind of take this on as a project, which I know a lot of people don't like to have to think this seriously about their food, but if you're willing to kind of take this on as like a project of maybe trying a new place every single week until March from here on out, I think that that's a really good way to kind of keep some variety in your life, make sure you're eating well, and you'll kind of get through the winter. So I think we have enough variety. You just kind of have to seek it out.
Well, Blake, thank you so much. I think these are some fantastic spots. You've definitely added a few places to my list. Cafe Sorrento is at the top of the list now.
It should be. Yeah.
And I'm really excited to try that out. So thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show.
Yeah. Thank you, Lindsay.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe to our Hey Boise newsletter to keep up with the latest restaurants opening in the Treasure Valley. We'll be back tomorrow morning to find out how Trump's executive orders are impacting local refugees. You won't want to miss it.